At the time of starting this script, Hamilton has surpassed Schumacher's record of 91 wins and looks set to match the record for most championships. And with the F1 community being the F1 community, throughout the 2020 season, the debate of who truly is the greatest Formula 1 driver of all time has caused many arguments and blockings on Twitter. Now before I get too far into this video, I want to make it clear, I don't care. Both these drivers were or have been the dominant force in their respective eras, and realistically, if you put them in the same car, neither would compare to Nico Hülkenberg. Anyway, this video isn't to see who the better driver is, despite the little verses on the thumbnail. I kind of just used that for a little bit of clickbait. But this video is more of an interest to see what Schumacher's time in F1 would look like compared to Hamilton's, since with the point system changing so frequently, it's the only statistic that these two really can't be compared on. Now before we get into the pit of numbers, I need to lay out some ground rules. The point system I'll be using is the most up-to-date point system available. 25 points for the win, 1 point for 10th place, and a point for the fastest lap if either driver is in the top 10. Rule 2 is I'm only doing this for Schumacher and Hamilton. Quite frankly, I don't get paid enough. Well, I don't get paid at all for this. But I don't get paid enough to work out every single driver in almost 30 seasons of F1, so either driver might actually get an additional championship in this alternate universe, but we can work that out in another video. So let's get started. As of the 2020 Portuguese GP, Hamilton has participated in 13 full seasons and is nearing the tail end of his 14th. His 92nd win was his 262nd race and 225th points finish, which brings him to a total of 3,687 points. As of when Schumacher retired back in Brazil 2012, he had participated in 19 full seasons, 308 races, and consisting of 221 points finishes, which brought him to a total of 1,556 points. And brief, that's a lot of numbers in one sentence. So in order for Schumacher to win this one, he'll need to gain an additional 2,131 points with the modern point system, and that's not including what Hamilton will gain. So let's see how he does. Starting with Hamilton, in his debut season he amassed 267 points as opposed to his 109, and 244 in his first championship winning year. 2009, which is seen as one of Hamilton's worst years in the sport, sees him get 126 points in his final year of the old point system. From this point it's a lot easier to work out. In 2010 he gets an additional 4 points for fastest lap. In 2011 he receives 3. In 2012, surprisingly, despite arguably having the quickest car, doesn't get any additional points for fastest lap. In his first year with Mercedes with the modern point system, he actually matches his previous year's tally at McLaren. Then the dominance really starts, but luckily it's still quite easy to work out. In 2014 he receives 7 additional points, in 2015 it's 8, in 2016 it's 3, 2017 is 7, 2018 is 3. And of course from 2019 the point system is the same, with Hamilton getting 413 last year, and as of his 92nd win sits on 256 points in the 2020 season. So in this alternate reality with the modern point system being in effect throughout the entirety of F1, Lewis Hamilton managed to increase his points tally from 3,687 to 4,104. However, there's one race we need to consider in this video, and it is the only time in this video where implementing the modern point system will take away points. The 2014 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix was to this day the only race to award double points at the finale of the season. I'll be honest, there might be something in the 50s or whatever, but I've already got enough data to work with, I can't be bothered to research that as well. But obviously with Hamilton winning this race, we need to deduct him 25 points, which brings his actual total to 4,079. So with an additional 5.5 seasons, 46 races, and let's say half a championship under his belt, since we know Hamilton's going to win this season, can Michael Schumacher catch Hamilton's 4,079 points? Let's take a look. So in his debut season in 91, Schumacher only raced in 6 races, finishing the points in half of them, and with this point system getting an additional 22 points. The following season was far more successful, getting an additional points finish with a 7th in Portugal, and with a 130 points boost gets his total to 183. His 93 campaign wasn't as successful despite managing 5 fastest lap points and only ever finishing on the podium. Nevertheless, he ends this season with 165 points. Schumacher's first championship winning season actually surpasses Hamilton's first championship for points gained, but actually finishes a point shy of Hamilton's new total. In Schumacher's second championship winning season, he achieves the biggest points increase we've seen so far of 174 points, added to his original 102. This means he managed 276 points in 95 and ends his Benetton stint with 893 points, which is still 218 shy of Hamilton's first 5 seasons. But I wouldn't worry too much, there's a much more impressive stint on its way. In 1996, Schumacher almost triples his original points tally to 175, almost does the same in 97 and 98, but unfortunately does take a metaphorical hit, and actually a physical one now that I think about it, missing 7 rounds due to a broken leg and only gaining an additional 94 points. This would actually be his worst season for Ferrari, but it certainly isn't over yet because we've got a much more disgustingly dominant period coming up. In 2000 he increases his original total of 108 to 288, In 2001 he gets his first but certainly not last 200 points plus edition with 330 points from 123. In 2002 he gets another 200 points plus edition with his biggest points tally to date. 2003 sees a slight slump with a much less dominant year but still comes away with an additional 148 points. And 2004 is the return to form, however, with his most dominant and final of his 7 titles. Originally on 148 points, that tally is increased by 227 points to a total of 375. That's a big points total in Hamilton's first 8 seasons as well as his 2017 campaign. As you'd expect, the momentum slows down now as the championships come to an end. Not even 100 points gained in 2005, but making up for it in 2006 with 182 points gained and 303 points total to round out his most dominant period in Formula 1. There's not really much to say about his return stint at Mercedes. His points tally in 2010 and 2011 stays the same with 72 and 76 points respectively, with the only points addition coming in 2012 with a fastest lap point coming at the German GP. That one additional point brings his 2012 total to a nice round 50 points, and his Mercedes total to a somewhat underwhelming 198 points. So let's have a look to see if Schumacher was able to chase down his target of 4,079 career points. With 893 points of Benetton, 2,845 points of Ferrari, and 198 points of Mercedes, Schumacher brings his total to 3,936 points, which means he's just 143 points short of his record. Now I do need to reiterate what I said at the start of this video. This wasn't trying to prove who was better, and despite not liking Schumacher in the slightest, hopefully I've done well enough at staying neutral in this video. It's been said 1,000 times on social media over the past few weeks that you can't compare these two drivers. There's simply too many factors. From drivers they race against, to cars, to the tracks, to reliability, there's simply too many factors to compare them. The debate of who's the greatest driver of all time will go on for as long as F1 is still a thing, and when Russell or Verstappen or Leclerc or Stroll, whose dad buys out Mercedes, starts breaking records, the debate will start again. You can loosely compare drivers from the same era, but unfortunately not different, and I hope this video has proved that. Oh, who am I kidding? The comments are going to be a fucking minefield. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, feel free to like and share and subscribe. You know, it's free and I'm actually uploading again, so it's not going to be pointless this time. If you are going to start a debate in the comments, do so at your own risk and just don't be too much of a dick. Everyone's entitled to have an opinion, unless of course you're just bad enough from Hulkenberg, in which case I'll just ban you immediately. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in my next video.